we're ready to start. Let me share my screen with you guys. I'm going to share, this time we're going to talk about globalization, which for you might be kind of boring. It's like, oh my God, again, globalization again, seriously? Well, I try to, the approach that I try to do here is that we're going to see or talk about globalization from the point of view of business, all right? Which of course this class is named Business Communication, and that's how we're going to see it. And what are the effects, positive and negative effects of globalization in our lives, okay? So the unit number 3, which is the last one of this course, begins with a quote, right? Let me write this word right here and on the chat. Where is the chat? Where did the chat go? Okay, right there. I can see it. I can find the chat. There it is. No, it's not there. Can anyone type something on the chat, please, so I can start? Yeah, I found it. Thank you. So a quote. Do you know the meaning of this word, the one that I'm writing on the chat? Anyone? Have you heard this word before? Yes, Angel?
It's like when in Spanish is a cita.
Yes, in Spanish it means two things. Quote means cita, but in cita not as in a date, all right? Date means like dating someone, going out with someone, and maybe have romantic plans with someone. But in this case, cita is to quote or to say, to express something that somebody else said, all right? And there is another word for quote. The other one is presupuesto. That's the other one. Okay, that's the second definition. So presupuesto, it's when you go to a carpenter. Let's say that you want a table for your house. So you go to the carpenter and you speak about the measures, the materials, and says like, hey, can I get a quote on that? That means that, can you tell me how much this is going to be and what is it going to include? All right, so that's what presupuesto is. So quote has two meanings, cita or presupuesto. So in this case, we are seeing this quote or this cita by Kofi Annan. Kofi Annan, he used to be, or he's a former secretary of the United Nations. Okay, he said, arguing against globalization is like arguing against the laws of gravity, all right? Arguing against globalization is like arguing against the laws of gravity. Leticia, what do you understand by that? Do you understand the word or this verb, arguing?
I have an idea about the phrase,
Yeah.
but the first word, and the second word, I don't know what it means.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
So to argue means discutir. Okay. And in this case, it is a gerund and it says arguing against globalization means discutir en contra de la globalización. Es como discutir en contra de las leyes de la gravedad. All right. So what Kofi Annan is trying to say is like, globalization is here, whether we like it or not. It's the same as gravity, right? La gravedad. Gravity is here, you cannot fight it. Of course, you try, but it's really hard to fight it. So globalization is here. And that's why we're going to talk about this topic in this unit. So let me read the introduction here. Over many centuries, human societies across the globe have progressively established closer contacts. Recently, unprecedented changes in communication, transportation, and computer technology have made the world more interdependent than ever. This unit will help you understand the effects of globalization on the economy, politics, society, culture, and the environment. All right. So we're going to see those different effects as you can see, in pretty much in anything. Okay. So here, not today, or not at this time, but you're going to conduct a research. You're going to carry out a small research to find out what exactly globalization refers to. So here you are going to write or to cut and paste what you find on the internet. Okay, so what is globalization? And here on this space, the sources of information, which means where did you get the information from? Now, we're going to skip to this exercise right here because this is interesting. This one, 3.2.2. Read the 3 questions, these ones, 1, 2, and 3, and use them to elaborate your answers. For each question, consider the following points. Food, all right, society, national identity, politics, education, culture, English as a global language, and finally, communication, okay? So, question number 1, let's begin with Hector. How has globalization affected Mexico in any of these terms right here?
Can I put more than one?
Yeah, sure.
Or,
Mm-hmm.
well, starting with the culture,
Okay, let's begin with the
Mhm.
culture, Hector. Okay, how has globalization affected Mexico in terms of culture, please?
Well, a single example of this is we are kind of united with the United States. So,
All right.
well, one of their celebrations are the Halloween.
Yeah.
The Halloween, and here in Mexico we have the Dia de Muertos, but the globalization makes immigrants and immigrants to bring Halloween to here to Mexico in pair of Dia de Muertos.
Okay. Yeah. Do you celebrate both or just one, Hector?
Both actually. I like to celebrate Halloween too.
Me too. Me too. I like to celebrate Halloween and Dia de Muertos. Those are my favorite. Those two are my favorite holidays. I mean, I love Halloween. I love Dia de Muertos, and I love St. Valentine's Day too. All right. So I'm going to stop you here, Hector, because I want the rest of your partners to participate. All right.
Sure.
Okay. Let's see, Angel. Same question. How has globalization affected Mexico in any of these terms? Okay, feel free to choose one of these terms, please.
I'm going to continue with the English as a global language.
Okay, English as a global language. All right,
because we can see how important English is to global level, and Mexico is one of the neighbors of USA, and it's obviously its importance, its influence about us and our language, and we can see it at our classes like this class. It's all about English and work with the English as a second language, and work with our I don't know how to say it with the things we know about our career, about the the area we are studying, and we can work together with English to be more open mind, and we can have more opportunities in the future.
Yeah, this is
Or
interesting.
not just here, but not just here, but in other countries.
Yeah, what you are saying basically is it's interesting. Why? Because oh, that's my cat. Sorry about that. What you're saying is interesting because we're speaking in English. I mean, we take classes in a Mexican school, right? And we're studying English. And why do you think that we're studying English and not Chinese or German? Any ideas, anyone?
Teacher, can be because Chinese, German are difficult than English.
Okay, that could be a possibility. But just to give you a good answer, Leticia, to be honest, English is super difficult. But the books that we read, or the textbooks that we read at school, they are made to look simple, to look easy, right? Because English, to be honest, is a super huge language. Let me give you one example. The Spanish language, you know, some people say that the Spanish language has 300,000 words, all right? 300,000 words, 3,000 palabras, all right, for the Spanish. How many words do you think that there are for English? Any ideas? Let me repeat that. Spanish has 300,000 words. In English, how many do you think it has? More or less, the English?
Maybe more.
Okay, Angel says more. Okay. Who else? Leticia, what do you say? More or less the English? So let's say Spanish is here, 300,000 words. English has more or has less?
I think is less.
Okay, good. Thank you. Miguel, more or less, what do you say?
More, teacher.
All right. Hector, what do you think? More or less?
My bad. Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, the question is, the Spanish has 300,000 words. How many words do you think that the English language has?
I think less.
More? Less?
Less.
Less. All right. And the answer is, okay, the answer is more. How many more? Well, the English language has 900,000. All right, so Spanish has 300,000 and English has 900,000 words, 900,000 palabras. That's a lot. So why is that? Well, again, because the English textbooks, they show us only a small part, a part that make us think that, English is super easy, you know? It's like you understand the basics and that's it, you can communicate. Anyway, it's a big language. And the reason why we speak English and not Chinese or German is because this language is considered a lingua franca. I just wrote it on the chat. Lingua franca, have you heard this word before? Or these two words, lingua franca, what a lingua franca means? What a lingua franca means is that is the language, let me write it here, language of the empire, okay? It's the language of the empire. So what it means is that the country or the group of people that dominates around the world, They impose their ideas, they impose their language, they impose their culture, they impose everything. So right now, we know that around the world, the United States is the #1 economy today, all right? So since the United States is the #1 economy, that's why they impose their language. That's why we make business by talking in English, all right? So China is very close, all right? China is the second biggest economy around the world. Probably in a few years, in a few months, who knows? If China becomes the first economy around the world, maybe, who knows, we might be speaking Chinese, all right? I'm not sure about that because for the last 15 years, that's something that I've been hearing. They say like, oh, the Chinese are going to overtake the United States economy, economic power, and they are going to be the #1 economy around the world, and we are going to be talking Chinese. However, 15 years or more have passed, and this actually hasn't happened. Why is that? Well, it's very likely that the Chinese people, they are not interested in teaching their language. They are more interested in making business around the world. So if they want to make business, they need to speak English. So they prefer to speak English, to learn English and make business than to stop and teach Chinese, because Chinese is super complex. The Mandarin Chinese is one of the most complex, if not the most complex language around the world. So anyway, that's the lingua franca. Let me move on to question number 2. How has globalization affected you personally? Let's begin with you, Miguel Adrian, and tell me or use any of these items here. How has globalization affected you personally in any of these areas?
Food.
Food. All right, let's talk about food. Yes.
I think the different companies, for example, Subway, Burger King, McDonald's, is therefore the different structure in the company, in the make food. For example, is very fast, different, digamos, una fondita, como en México.
Okay, yes.
Is affect you personally, is, digamos, status.
Okay.
Is interesting for the your companies is from in the make your from the thing. No sé cómo decirlo.
So what you are saying, what you are trying to say, Miguel, is that with these companies, Burger King or McDonald's, we have more food variety. Is that what you are saying?
Yes, teacher.
All right. Okay. So we have not only American food, right? But we have Italian food, we have Chinese food, we have Korean food. We have food from almost all around the world. Okay, and even in small places like Guanajuato or León. León is a big city, and you have a lot of restaurants where you can go and try different food from other countries, right? Okay, thank you, Miguel. Who am I going to ask the next question? Angel, did I ask you? Yeah, you already talked, right?
Yes, teacher, in the question number 1.
Yes. Leticia, did you talk about question number 2? Not yet. Do you want to talk about question number 2, Leticia, please?
Sorry, teacher, my internet is
slow?
broken.
All right, it's okay, it's not working.
It's slow.
All right, If, I don't know, maybe you want to turn off your camera and see if that helps.
I think it works.
All right, okay. So tell us your point of view. How has globalization affected you personally in terms of whatever you want?
I say my personality has changed in communication because I have to learn English, and I have the chance to speak to people from other countries.
Yeah.
And sometimes, well, no, once my dad say I need to learn other language, aparte,
besides
the English. So this opens the door for me to meet other people from other countries.
Okay. So also with now, I mean, in talking about communication, we are just seeing that how the scientists around the world are communicating with each other to create the COVID vaccine, right? We have the internet, and we have, I don't know, technologies such as WhatsApp, there are dozens of technologies. But we use these technologies to communicate better with people around the world and construct something good for the world, right? Okay, let me just write something on the chat really quick. It says affect is different from effect, all right? Who can tell me the difference between affect and effect, please? What do you understand by these two words, affect and effect?
I think affect, when you talk about the word affect, you think about bad things, or maybe the bad consequences about something.
That's definitely right, Angel. Thank you very much. Affect has a negative connotation, all right? And the word effect, it can be positive effect and negative effect. For example, if I ask you, Angel, what were the effects of the COVID vaccine in your body? Were they positive or were they negative? All right. It's different if I ask you the question, hey, Angel, how did the COVID vaccine affect you? And you probably wouldn't be, you would be telling me something like, oh no, I didn't get any affections, right? I'm fine, you know, nothing happened to me. Okay, so here, I mean, I'm just saying this word just to make sure that there is a difference. So affect has usually a negative connotation, sorry. An effect can be both positive and negative, all right? Effect can be both positive and negative, or negative, sorry. Okay, let me ask one last question. Hector, are you there?
Sure, totally.
All right, tell us the last question. Who do you think benefits most or least from globalization?
I think there's a, oh, that's kind of tricky. I don't think that anyone benefits most. I think it's kind of equal.
Okay, think about.
Well, in the meaning of countries.
Yeah.
If you're meaning about people, I don't know.
Think about Amazon, all right? Companies like Amazon, right? Everybody here in this room, we know what, I mean, this company, right? Amazon. Do you think that Amazon benefits from globalization?
Oh, yeah, of course. Well, talking about business, globalization is the, well, is a gold era for the biggest companies like, well, in this case, in my career, we can talk about like Intel with their processors and other marks like AMD, the competitor.
Yes.
So we can talk about the multiple countries using their processors and computers and components for well, multiple purposes. But what instead of that is the effect of the globalization. Everyone can get an Intel or AMD processor in every part of the world. So
all right,
the company is getting heavily for this.
Okay, thank you, Hector. All right. So it seems like there is a party going on outside the street, right? Miguel, who do you think benefits least from globalization? Do you understand the word least?
Yes, teacher, it's a menos in traduction.
Yeah, it's actually the opposite of most. Who do you think benefits least from globalization?
I think is autonomy of the country because the globalization, I think less in the culture in the country. For example, in Mexican is adapt the different culture. For example, in the front in Silao is the companies, digamos, el corredor industrial.
Industrial park.
Is the different people in the world, in the country is from, digamos, están como divididos.
Divided, yeah.
Right. In Mexico is China's skilled Chinese people, Japanese skilled people is adapt in Mexico, no?
All right. So what about South African countries? Do you think they benefit from globalization or they don't actually benefit from globalization? Hey, what happened? Oh, it's my connection.
I don't listen.
Okay, yeah, all right, I'm back. Sorry, the question that I was asking is, who do you think benefits least from globalization? Let me share my screen. And yeah, all right. And we were talking about South African countries, all right? South African countries, I mean, we saw with the pandemics that there are super poor countries that they don't have money to buy vaccines, right? Not only in South Africa, but here also in Latin America, countries like Haiti, right? I mean, they don't have enough money to buy vaccines. So there are countries that actually don't benefit from globalization. As you can see, as you can tell, here in Mexico, we benefit, you know, talking about food, right? We have food from all around the world. In society, you know, in society, we have many ideas that come from the outside. ideas such as, you know, like the feminism these days, all right? And you know, all these, what they call pañuelos verdes. It comes, these ideas are not only here happening in Mexico, but they are happening in countries like Chile, just to give you one example. National identity, all right? In terms of national identity, you know, what happens here is that it gets affected too, because now our country, in the case of Mexico, we get not only ideas but culture, language. We get these effects from being open to globalization. In politics, same thing. In politics, we have things that happen around the world and have an effect here in Mexico. Education, all right? In education, we have education systems that are similar here in Mexico, okay? And you just talk about culture, English as a global language, and communication, okay? So those are the effects of globalization in our lives. As Kofi Annan was saying at the beginning of this lesson, it's really hard not to escape from it. It's here, okay? So I think we're going to stop here today's session. Okay, this exercise, the next one is super long. I don't know if you had any trouble trying to complete it, but it's what, 2, 3, 4 pages. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3 pages. So hopefully you don't have any trouble trying to complete it. Do you guys have any questions about today's lesson? Miguel, any questions?
No, teacher, it's an interesting answer.
All right, thank you.
No, teacher, thank you.
Okay, Hector, any questions?
Nope, I'll go to